So welcome to the Sleep Workshop 2015. This for me, if you know me very well, I've been like a kid in a candy store or a 4-year-old at Christmas since we said that we were going to redo this workshop to get this on tape, hopefully for everybody at YouTube that's watching this. So everybody look back at the camera and wave, say hi YouTube. You can do better than that. Say hi YouTube. Hi. Good, excellent. There are going to be people in Zimbabwe and Chicago and Canada and New York and everywhere watching this video.
Australia.
And Australia, actually Queensland, so we got some family there. But listen, so hi Milosh and Donna. But listen, sleep, you're going to sleep. Might as well make it good, right? Now whether you fall asleep like this and you sleep through the night, you never wake up, just wake up on time, you are still going to get something out of this workshop. The research is very, very clear. Sleeping is way more important than people think. I read an article actually just today that actually talks about how sleep deprivation, and I'm not talking about hours or days on end, I'm talking about minutes. You just decided you'd take a little more me time and watch a little bit more of that movie instead of going to bed, and you lost a little bit. They're actually taking tests, having people take tests who've just missed minutes of sleep, and they're actually equivalent to people who have had a couple of drinks and are behind the wheel of a car. And so your mental motor reflexes, your cognition, your reasoning ability, these things change as you actually miss sleep. Raise your hand if you'd like to have better cognition. Right, raise your hand. Good. I had some spouses do this to their spouses, some husbands and wives. But listen, it's just that simple. So what I want everybody to get is when you leave, I want every single person to be able to do what better? Sleep better. It's easy. So 9 signs you're not getting enough sleep. Okay, first of all, look here. You can't stop hitting the snooze alarm. Am I talking to anybody yet? Right? Can't stop hitting the snooze alarm. How about this one? You sleep late on the weekends. Classic. Classic. Sleep late on the weekends. You're irritable and moody. Don't look at your spouse or your friend that came with. You get frequent coughs and colds, right? Just sleeping better is going to increase immunity. You can't shed those pounds. Did you know that it actually causes you to maintain or gain weight? You're unable to focus or remember. Again, cognition. Your blood sugar is creeping up, so we're starting to get some pre-diabetes or whatever. Your blood pressure starts to increase, so high blood pressure is a part of this too. You consume caffeine all day. Why? Because you're what? Tired, especially mid-morning and early mid-what? Afternoon. These are the times where people start getting carb snacks like granola bars or caffeinated drinks or coffee or whatever. What's right and wrong with this picture? What's wrong with this picture?
It's daytime.
It's daytime. Well, that's part of the thing. But what's wrong? What's wrong with it? First of all, what's wrong with this?
Cat.
Yeah, cat on your back. It's funny. I showed the staff this morning. They were like, "That's where my cat sleeps, right on my back." We'll talk about that. What's wrong with her position in bed? We're going to talk about position tonight. What's the worst position? Face down, because you have to turn your head. It creates an angle, subluxates the neck, decreases your life expectancy, causes thyroid issues and weight gain and headaches and bone and joint pains. But the other thing is, she has also got some things right. How about this? You know, I was wearing this silly little mask all day so you guys wouldn't forget that there was a workshop tonight, right? And it says princess, and I had so many people call me a princess today. I'm not. But dark is good. Also, silent is good. A lot of people have seen this movie, Breakfast at Tiffany's, but she wasn't wearing earrings. She had what?
Earplugs.
She had earplugs. Yes, so watch the movie again. Awesome. So how much sleep do you need? Everybody knows when you're younger you need a little bit more. There's the chart. You don't have to memorize it, but it just goes to show you why your adolescents, like I got a 13-year-old and a 16-year-old, and I'm like, how do you stay in bed like that? It's just crazy because they get a lot of sleep because they need a lot of sleep, right? My son just hit 6'4", and you know that takes a lot of energy to do that, and the body does a lot of that while he's sleeping, okay? But there's a chart, okay? Let's talk about REM just for a second. Now, we're not going to talk about different stages of REM. I think it gets a little bit too scientific. Just know that there is non-REM sleep, and then there's REM sleep. And REM sleep is going to be the dark ones there. Non-REM is going to be the other. There's these things that a lot of us have now. They're these little things that take your steps. And you can use these, because they're motion sensors, to actually track your REM sleep. So you can see how much REM sleep you're getting, which is really cool, because I actually can track what causes me to have more REM sleep and what has less REM sleep. These are really, really, really cool. What you need to understand is you heal and you function, and I say this because I think that sleep is the unofficial 6th essential. You have to have it, right? Do you know you die if you don't get sleep? you will die. I think, I don't know how many days it is, but so many days and then you just pass away. You just can't, you also go completely crazy. Your body heals at night, and guess what, you heal a cut here, it begins healing instantly. Guess when your nervous system heals? When you hit these dark lines right here. Got it? That's why if you're not getting REM sleep or deep REM sleep, you're missing it. And here's the thing, most of you guys in the room don't have necessarily an out and outright sleep problem. You can go to sleep or you can stay asleep, but you are not getting very long REM sleep and you're not getting very deep REM sleep. You with me? So how do we increase that? Because that's what's going to give you all the things that we want to give you as far as the positive benefits tonight. Let's just talk about a couple of topics. Everybody wants to know about sleep apnea. What's that, right? It's the Darth Vader mask. This is what it sounds like to sleep next to somebody in a CPAP machine, right? But it can be a dangerous thing. Sleep apnea, there's people that can die with sleep apnea, right? So, I mean, we don't want to play around with it. Well, what is that about? Why do we need it? Well, first of all, basically what it is the air current from breathing in your nose right here comes down, and it should pass right past here and then right down the trachea into the lungs and then back. Got it? What ends up happening is this soft palate right here becomes flaccid or weakened. It's a muscle. And then as you start to get into deeper levels of sleep, it begins to get what? Relaxed, hangs back down into the throat, and then as you breathe, this is what creates the classic, right? That's funny that spouses just looked at each other. I'm not going to call you out, but this is what happens. So the reason it's bad is because it creates a, and we don't get air where? There. And this is where you see some people actually stop breathing. That's why it can be dangerous, which is why they put you in this forced air mask to force air to open that up and shoot air down. Does it make sense? It's a forced air system. However, everything's got a cause and effect. So this is, again, let's not get too technical, but this is glossopharyngeal. This is the cranial nerve that innervates the hanging down thing and the soft palate in the back of your throat. You know the little uvula that hangs back? The little skin that goes on either side of that, that's this part of the soft palate, okay? Now that thing right there is a muscle, part of it's muscle, and this glossopharyngeal goes to it. If I put a lot of nerve supply into the muscle, it stays toned, right? But if I decrease the nerve supply to it, the muscle gets what? Gets flabby, right? We don't want flabby in the back of your throat, right? Right. So what happens is you got a good curve in your neck. Guess what? Right there is where that hypoglossal nerve comes out. So if you have issues between here and here, guess what you have issues with? Right? I just had half the room go, oh, exactly, right? That's the problem, right? That's also why we don't want to miss our stuff at home, too. We'll go through that a little bit more. But can you see that? We've had people literally stop snoring within a couple weeks, get off their CPAP machine within a couple weeks to a month. Why? Not because we're actually losing that much weight, although that can be an issue, too. It's because they get more innervation to the soft tissue, yeah? Right? Okay, did you ever get that? Right? So it's a nerve issue. Restless leg syndrome. Who's heard of that? Raise your hand. Right? Literally, it's one of the most uncommon diagnoses in the world. Like there are very few people actually have this, but a lot of people have the symptoms of this. Okay, and it's not restless leg. Okay, restless legs is an actual neurological disease or condition. It's not. But who here has ever had their legs fidgety when you're trying to sleep, or tingling when you're trying to sleep, or feel like they're almost crampy when you're trying to sleep? These things. If you mention anything about your legs when you try to sleep, guess what the diagnosis is with? Restless leg syndrome, right? But usually it's subluxation patterns that are keeping nerve supply away from lower extremity, or it's mineral deficiencies, or it's atrophy of muscles or blood supply, these things, which actually cause that. Question?
Is it only leg or like it can be?
No, it's also, you can be upper extremity as well, which is why I'm saying it's not a true restless leg. I mean, you can have all these things happen just simply as a consequence of just these very simple things you see at the bottom. Does that make sense? Which is why, guess what? If you fix the cause, guess what happens to the symptom? It goes away. And we're not taking, listen, I had so many people come in on antipsychotics and anti-seizure meds and Neurontin and these things for restless leg, right? When, guess what, all they needed was some magnesium, or they had a subluxation in their back, just needed to be corrected just a little bit, and it's gone, right? You see where I'm going? Right, okay. Now, Weight loss resistance. This should be the one reason where you do everything I tell you. Who would like to lose 11 pounds? Just raise your hand. 11 pounds. A Swedish study, 7,200 women in this study, Finnish study, sorry. What they found was women who had sleep issues had 11-pound weight gain, right? Some of you guys literally don't think you have a sleeping issue, but you're keeping weight on, even though you're working out or eating right, doing advanced plan, whatever else, and it's because you're not going and having high quality sleep and depth of REM. Got it? So who would like to just lose weight while you sleep? Both hands up? Anybody? Yeah, like, yeah. Sounds too good to be true, but guess what? It's literally what happens if you get this right. How to get the greatest night of sleep in your life. And I'm going to go through several things. How about just some simple stuff? I'm going to give you, how about this one? 19% better sleep if you just made your bed. Yesterday was Mother's Day. Moms, you were right. Make your bed. Now, why is that? It seems like a little trick, but 19% is nothing to sleep at. I mean, if you make your bed, you sleep 19% better if you make your bed. Why? There's also a cognitive thing that happens when you know that your bed is clean, it's prepared, it's all ready for you, and everything is like, you know, perfect, and you're getting into that bed. It's more approachable, it's more inviting, right? So when you get there, it's more appreciated, right? Also, you want to honor that room. It shouldn't be a place where you just do all of your work as well, and you're just like, that needs to be where you chill, relax, and sleep. Got it? Our bedroom it's not where a lot goes on. It's like a holy little place. It's a sanctuary, and we honor the sanctuary. Got it?
Got it.
So honor the sanctuary, okay? Especially when it's 19% improvement in your sleep. Magnesium calm. I don't have any up here, but that's what it looks like. I think it's probably the most missed mineral. When I was going through nutrition classes to be a doctor, the guy, there was lots of studies coming out, and he said basically not manganese, but magnesium was literally what most people were missing. It has a calming effect to nerve supply, and because I can almost, if I tested everybody here, 99% of you guys would be deficient in magnesium. What's the name of the lady that wrote the book on heart?
Detoxify or Die?
Yeah.
Sherry Rogers?
Sherry Rogers. She's very big on magnesium, and she says every single person needs to take magnesium. I take this every single day, and there's different flavors. Cherry flavor, raspberry lemon, which is my favorite. There's orange, there's no flavor at all, but it's just spoonable, right? It's a real fine powder. You mix it up in water and just suck it back, and it tastes good. Word to the wise, don't put it in a Ziploc bag and just travel with it in the airport. Looks like cocaine. Don't want to bring that story up. But also, listen, very good for the legs. If you have any twitching, cramping, if you have a hard time relaxing, trying to relax in bed, there's aches and pains, these things. Magnesium calm definitely helps with that. Raise your hand if you've taken natural. There's a bunch of you guys in the room. Awesome, good, perfect. Great sleep. Let's start with this. What affects it? A lot of things affect it. Does caffeine affect it? Yes. Some of you guys could drink, and you brag about it almost. I could drink a cup of coffee right now and go right to bed. Listen, that is not a good thing. That means your adrenals are shot, and when you're whipping them, you're not giving off enough norepinephrine to even keep you awake at night. You need to get away from caffeine altogether. I love coffee. I almost feel like I need like a support group. Hi, my name's David. I love coffee. Hi, David. There you go. Yeah, so I love coffee. My wife hates that I love coffee so much. I had to get away from coffee. It's been, how long has it been since it's been a year? And I love tea. My Lynn family blesses me with tea, and I've been so away from caffeine that there may be one day a week or so that I'll actually drink green tea. I usually text a selfie of me drinking tea. But those days, I better drink it really early in the morning. I had it at like 11:30, and I was up into the evening time. And you know what? I'm proud of that because it means that my adrenals are doing very well. But you want to stay away from caffeine. Even if you could go to sleep directly right after drinking anything with caffeine, guess what happens to your brainwave patterns? They never fully settle down, and you don't get into deeper what? REM. They don't get into deeper REM. Got it? So you want to stay away from caffeine. You can do decaf, yeah. And listen, we had this big discussion at the seminar in Denver this last weekend. Coffee, there's some good organics, coffee. I think it does deplete B vitamins a little bit, so make sure you're taking a multi. But it's not, and magnesium, it depletes magnesium big time. We talked about that because I need magnesium big time. But what it does, it's actually what you put in the coffee that's bad. I remember when we did my metabolics test, I don't eat fried food. I don't, listen, you catch me with fried food in my mouth, there's a clone. It's not me, I'm dead, they killed me. I don't eat fried food, I don't get bad fats, and my metabolics test came off like I was living in French fries or something. Trans fats, literally, it was off the chart, wasn't it? It was crazy, and you know what it was? Half and half. I liked half and half, like cream in my coffee, right? And guess what? It is just trans fats because it's just heated, and it's not good. So it's what you put in the coffee that makes coffee bad. Got it? Okay, moving on. How about this? Sugar and carbs. People ask me when to eat. How close to bedtime can I eat? And it depends on what you're eating. If it's fat or protein, you can eat pretty close to bedtime. But most of us, we eat dinner, and then we get what kind of tooth? A sweet tooth, and we want to have a little bit of something sweet, and then maybe a little something salty, and then maybe something sweet again, right? But you eat, if you get a high carb meal or sugar within an hour of going to bed, what happens to your blood sugar? It does what? Goes up, then you go to sleep, and guess what your blood sugar does while you sleep? Goes down, and you have a crash in your blood sugar while you're sleeping, and because you're not moving, it's a different metabolism, and your cortisol, you're not supposed to be burning large amounts of carbs and stuff or trying to manipulate them through your sleep. And so guess what? You wake up with a headache. Anybody wake up with headaches? Guess what? Large part by you eating too close to bed. It's almost like a hangover. So you drink a lot of alcohol. What causes a hangover from drinking at night? It's partly dehydration, but it's actually because sugar metabolizes, or alcohol metabolizes right into sugar, and you have a spike in blood sugar. That's why you feel so good, yeah. And then you go to sleep, and guess what happens to your blood sugar? Crashes, and you wake up, and it's because you did it to yourself by not allowing your body to have a good metabolism while you slept. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So sugar does affect it. Alcohol, same basic thing, same principle. Got it? So there's just some basic, simple, easy stuff, okay? Let's start. We're going to go through about 7 things that I think that are the absolute most. We're going to start with this one. Sleep position, okay? Here we go. It's the lifelong debate. What position should I sleep in bed? Now just find yours on there because it's on there. That's kind of a joke more than anything, right? Are you the starfish? Are you the log? Are you the free faller? Right? You're doing this one, right? How about the starfish? Hands are up like this, feet are out. This is very hard to have a spouse because you're usually kicking them like this. The fetus position, lots of fetus positions in here, right? Because you're just like this and you're all curled up, which is terrible for your neck and your back. Yeah, I used to be, right? But what is the best positions? Okay, first of all, number 1 is on your back, okay? Number 2 is on your side. And number 3 is if you woke up there because it's not good. We want to get off of there. Right? It took me about 6 months to stop sleeping on my stomach. You do not want to be on your stomach. Why? You sleep on your stomach and you have to what?
Turn your head.
Turn your head. And you get into a relaxed position, and then you actually turn more. You favor that side, right? And whichever way you turn your head, I can tell because I look at your x-rays. You will develop an angle in your neck to the same direction you turn. Got it? In fact, if you don't believe me, and if you sleep like that, look at your x-rays next time you're in the room. You'll see it. So position. On your back or what? On your side. If it's going to be on your back, you need to support your neck, okay? If it's going to be on your side, you support your neck and head. I can't hardly, well, the camera's probably going to get me, but I want you to imagine this is the bed. Everybody, can you see this? You guys have to kind of look, imagine this is the bed, okay? I'm sleeping on my back, okay? Or I'm going to sleep on my side. Now, if I don't have a pillow, I'm here, right? Everybody gets that. And then if I have a small pillow or not big enough pillow or no pillow, I have to turn on my side a little bit like this. Do you see that? This is a crooked spine. This is not good at all. If I have it on my side, I need a pillow large enough to what? Hold this up. So it needs to be fairly big. Okay, got that? if I'm on my back, now listen, this is where most people completely miss it. This is one of the biggest parts of the talk. This is going to help you with your spinal correction and everything else. If I'm sleeping on my back, okay, my back, here, let's use this. My back needs to be touching, and my head needs to be touching what my back is touching. Does that get it? You get it? If this is not the case, if I'm on a pillow, now I have a lot of people go, listen, it's a chiropractic, there's a chiropractic support, like a chiropractor approved pillow, and it's got the little roll on it, and your head goes in the little divot part, right? Wrong, right? Yeah, that couldn't be worse, because if it's off the bed at all, let's go back to this again. If you are on that bed and your head is not touching the bed that you're laying on, then your head is what?
Yeah.
Even if it's inside of a roll, it's still what? Would anybody like your x-rays to look like this? Now, it may, yeah, someone said it, mine do. We're fixing that. But can you see how it's hard to fix that if you're up like this? Right? Especially if you're there for hours, right? Everybody with me? Which is why you're going to sleep on your spinal molding rolls, okay? Now we have medium and firm. You may stay on the mediums for a long time. That's okay, right? I have some of you guys that really can't even hardly do the mediums yet. Well, just do a towel for a little while, and then, you know what? Press in and get to that medium as fast as you can. Got it? Now let's do this. This is basically, here's a wood table right here that they're actually doing x-rays on, and there's the Tempur-Pedic pillow. Do you see that? Now imagine if I flip this up. There's the person's back right here. Do you see that? There's their head. There's the x-ray of them on the pillow. Do you see it? Now if I flip that up this way, would you like that x-ray to be yours? Can you see how your thyroid might be affected? Right? Digestion, hormones. We'll talk about hormones coming up, right? So position. What's the first position? Best position? On your back with your head what? Touching the bed. Sides number 2 with what?
Head and neck.
Large pillow.
Head and neck support, large pillow. You got it. Got it? Really? Yes, ma'am.
Is there a preferred side, left or right?
People ask all the time, is left better than right? That's a great question. If you talk to cardiologists, they were like, well, you don't want to sleep on your left side because your heart's there. I don't think there was like an emergency meeting of the Holy Trinity. We didn't put it in the middle. We put it on the left side. People are going to sleep on their left side. It's going to be bad. It's going to be just fine to sleep on your left side if you don't have cardiac issues, major spinal issues, pulmonary edema, shoulder issues where you're turning and rolling that in like this. It's going to be just fine. I sleep on my left side, and I think I'm a good example of it. It should be fine. Now, there are some people, it might be easier or more safe on their right side if they already had like a major health issue, possibly. Okay, but good question.
What about the hips twisting when your legs are not stacked?
Good question again. I missed that one completely. She said, what about your legs and knees if you're on your side? Because then you've got one going this way, one going this way. It can cause pelvic rotation. So oftentimes you hear people saying, well, you should put a pillow where? In between your knees. The only reason to put a pillow in between your knees is to keep more of a pelvic position straight. I'm too lazy to do that. That's just being honest. Also, if you've got a really good supportive mattress, like a Tempur-Pedic or like a memory foam that's decent, generally it supports you good enough because your pelvis goes down a little further because it weighs more than like the area of the knees, and those are up a little bit, and so just having your knees relatively together keeps the pelvis good. Unless you are one of these people that have just a wicked pelvis anyway, if you've got a really whacked out pelvis or scoliosis, you will do better with a pillow between the knees. Great question. Anybody? Moving on? We good? All right. Next. Okay. A good night's sleep starts with checking your nerve supply. Most people here are patients. Raise your hand if you're a guest. Some of my guests. Guests. Most people don't ever even think about this. I read, just today, I read an article where they were talking about most people, when they start talking about issues with sleep, they think it's as a consequence of mental health issues. So mental health issues cause you not to be able to sleep very well. You're anxious, you're depressed, you've got issues, whatever, and the mental health issue keeps you from sleeping. And what the latest science shows us is it's not that way, it's the other way. That literally sleep issues are causing mental health issues, from depression, anxiety, ADHD, focus, 9 levels of cognition, all of these things caused by, and don't even get me started if you try to medicate for it, right? Now it's like having a fire and going, where's the gasoline to put it out? It doesn't work. So the first and foremost is you want to start with nerve supply. Some of you guys that may still be having issues, I mean, are you doing your stuff at home every day? I mean, you've got a $500,000 spinal corrective program specifically for you, and you may not be doing it twice a day, right? I mean, if I give you a $500,000 car, would you value it? Would you take care of it? Or would you just leave it out in the tornadoes and the hail or whatever? I mean, it's value that, do that. I mean, I did an orientation the other day, and I said, you know, I feel like sometimes I wish I just charged $30,000 a person to be here, because would you miss visits? No, you wouldn't. Would you miss doing your stuff at your rehab at home? No, you wouldn't. We're not going to charge $30,000 so you guys can relax, but I want you to do that stuff at home, because will you sleep better?
Yes.
Yes. If you're sleeping better, you'll be healthier. We want to remove the interference. But it all starts with this nerve supply. We won't go too far into it. But don't you love that picture? I love that. I use it all the time. Most people don't realize that you can have that going on and never feel it. Case in point, had just a lady who was about to have her baby, who was supposed to have a hysterectomy. Now she has an almost 2-year-old, and she is due on the 24th of May. And all she had was a little bit of low back curvature, which her medical doctor said that's not affecting anything, right? And guess what? As soon as we opened that up just slightly, guess what happened to her female cycle? Hallelujah, for the first time in her life, it's just fine. And now guess what? She's doing great. Never had a hysterectomy, and there's 2 kids that are going to be on the planet Earth that are the cutest things ever. Or 1 anyway, and the other one's got to be. Does it make sense? Yes. So you don't have to have pain to have this going on. What's the worst way to judge your health? By how you feel. I love that you feel better. Some of you guys are doing so much better. But listen, don't think that just because you feel better, everything is great. And listen, I fall back into that sometimes myself. I want to feel great. And sometimes I'm like, baby, can you adjust my neck? Because my neck hurts. Right? How'd you like that? Living with your chiropractor. However, it's not about something hurts. It's about whether you have interference, okay? But some great stuff right there. Decreased blood flow from abnormal postures, a major cause in all disease. Faulty posture, core, 1979, won a Nobel Prize. Faulty immune system, organ disease, muscle tension, increased sensitivity to pain. Why would increased sensitivity to pain be important talking about sleep? If you're subluxated, things that shouldn't hurt, what? Hurt. Now I turn over in bed and my shoulders hurt, my hips hurt, my knees. Anybody just been laying in bed sleeping and your knee starts to hurt, or ankle starts to hurt, or hip or something like this? Those are pain sensitivities that you didn't hurt something. It just started to hurt because you have an increased sensitivity to that pain pathway, not just pain in general. No one went up and kicked you in your knee when you were sleeping, right? But it started hurting. This is what we want to keep from happening because your nerve supply is good. Also, a loss or increase, either way, spinal curves, increases mortality. What's that mean? Speeds up death up to 14 years off your lifespan. That is published in the bone and joint surgical thing. This was 1981. Can you imagine that? And yet, it's not on the news, right? This is how important your nerve supply is. So, warning signs, you've got issues going on. Some of you guys still have these issues going on. Press in, get it done. I think a lot of these issues, if you're getting a clear nerve supply, can be caused by lack of sleep, okay? But if you're not currently, if you're a guest and you're currently not getting your spine taken care of, we're going to make sure that we get a chance to do that. Got it? Okay? So let's get into this. Do we have any of these in the house, by the way? Can you grab me a pair of these? Prism glasses. See those funky looking glasses right there? You're going to look cool just like the rest of us using it. A big thing, I have people talk to me all the time, is they like to watch TV in bed. Raise my hand for TV in bed people, anybody? So maybe like half the room. You got a nice TV and you want to just relax and you got a little something on. I go back and forth. There's been years of my life where I was like, let's keep the bedroom, the sanctity of the bedroom. Don't put a TV in there. If you want to watch TV, go to the living room. But, you start having teenagers, right? You watch TV in there. I'm going to go in here. Thank you. I want you to see this. Also, anybody read in bed? Anybody? Raise your hand if you read in bed, right? Hard to read in bed, right? So if you want to have a good curve in your neck, you better hold that thing up, right? What do your hands feel like in about 30 seconds? Right? I'm done, right? These, they literally make your vision 90 degrees down, okay? So you put these on, and I'm literally looking at my feet. So, can you see me? Yeah. Right there? You see my eyes? Right there? Like that? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass these around because I want everybody to feel these. But the reason this is so important for me, for you guys, is do you think you might lay on your spinal molding rolls longer and actually allow your spine to heal if you could watch TV or read with the book right here, the Bible right here, or whatever else? Would you stay on there longer possibly? Exactly. So I'm going to hand these around right here. right? Spouses don't make fun of your spouses,
Where do you
right?
get them?
I ordered a bunch of them just so I can get them. I mean, when I first saw them, they were like 50, 60, 70 bucks. I'm like, no one's going to get those. We started buying them in bulk and getting them for, what's our cost? 25, something like that. Yeah, 25 bucks, something like this. So for 25 bucks, you can be laying on your back. Aren't those cool?
Yeah.
Love it. And these actually, these are the size that you can actually, for most people, have your glasses on and still use those. So if you have readers or something. Okay, so just pass those around. Okay, back to position again. Now, not necessarily position, your position in the bed, but there's two major things. Pets, okay? If you have a pet, you're laughing, but it's true, 53% of pet owners say that they have interruption in their sleep every single night. Now, if that's the case, just so you know, your cancer rates, your likelihood of cancer goes up. I love pets. I love my dog. I like to snuggle with him and scratch on him. I think he's awesome. But I'm not going to get cancer and leave my kids behind because I love my dog. Does that make sense? And listen, you don't think you're making a decision like that? You don't get sleep every night to some degree? You're making the decision that that's okay. Now listen, I can get in real trouble with this next statement. But sleeping with your kids, okay? Again, if you go overseas to other countries, and there's like one bedroom for whatever, and I guess even in biblical times, people slept with their kids. I think you possibly had to. We don't have to do that here, okay? We don't have to do that. Now, you may want to do that, but guess what? Don't if you have a choice, because you will not get the sleep that you want. And listen, what's better for your kids? For you to be healthy and be here a long time, or for them to sleep with you? The first one. Got it? Okay, it's just that simple. Okay? Let's go to the third one. Light. Okay? Light is important. Now, not just being in the room being dark, which, by the way, is important. Now, some of you guys have a VCR. You've got a cable box. You've got a little green light on the smoke alarm in your bedroom that shines down. You've got your alarm clock. You've got something else. You've got like 3 or 4, 5 different things that are light-emitting objects. Phone, yeah, get the phone out of the EMFs that your phone give off while you sleep actually decrease your depths of REM by themselves. And I didn't have that in here. I'm glad you mentioned it. If your phone is in your room, computer, laptop, phone, they give off EMFs. You've got to get it out of your room. Got
But
it?
if they're shut?
Doesn't matter. If they're on, out of the room. You want it out of the room. Okay, out of the room. But light, so light-emitting objects, you want to shut them down. You want to unplug them. Or some of those things you don't have to look at. Just take some electrical tape right over it. It'll darken your room right up, right? Even like, and I don't want to get in trouble on this one, but like a smoke alarm, test them regularly. You're supposed to test it, every month, I think, something like this. But that light, that green light or whatever on there, make sure that's covered. You want to get your room as dark as you can, okay? Drapes or blinds, because full moon in Texas can be really full, right? But as dark as possible. Actually, if there's much light at all, it will keep you from going to the deepest levels of REM. Got it? Okay. You actually work on a circadian rhythm that works with light, and if there's light at all, your brain will stay awake to some degree, even with your eyes closed. Now, next, getting exposed to light during the day is extremely important. Which, if you live in Seattle, I don't know how to do it. I don't know how we're doing it. Like sun was out today. Thank you, Jesus, the sun was out.
Amen.
But you have to be exposed to the sun to sleep well at night. You have to, or light. The problem is, because we have artificial light sources, right, and it can be almost daytime right now all the time, guess what? Your circadian rhythm gets thrown off. In the evening time, you should have your house, a little bit darker. It's okay. Let yourself start coming down a little bit. But this whole bright thing, and these are terrible, by the way, just so you know, I'm going to apologize for not sleeping well because you're here tonight. But the light, you want to be exposed to light, and you want to get it decreasing as you go into the evening time. What happens if you go on a trip and you're in different time zones? Even just an hour or two. You go to Florida, it's 2 hours difference, right? Or 1 hour difference, whatever it is. 1 hour. 1 hour difference. We go to Florida all the time for maximized living. How do you get your circadian rhythm back? Anybody get tired? Or the time change. Who hates the time change? Raise your hand, right? How do you get your circadian rhythm back? You get out in the sunshine without your sunglasses on. You're not looking at the sun, but you're just trying to get exposure, right? And guess what? it will help you reset that clock immediately. Got it? So light's very important. Night lights for children. There was a study done. It was like a 20-year study. Children with night lights actually had lower IQs than kids that not. Right? So that's what happened to you. Your parents had, no, I'm just kidding. So, but you can call your mom, say, I denounced yesterday. No. But listen, night light's not good for kids. They got to get used to being in the dark. And we had a hard time with our littlest one. It was rough. It was rough, baby. Rough. Bedding. All right, here we go. Here's your question. Here it comes, and everybody on YouTube is going to ask it. I'm going to punch you to the YouTube so you can watch this. Now, that looks inviting, right? That big, fluffy sea of blanketness and just fluff into it like this? Nope, it's not. Now, maybe your comforter can be all fluffy like this, but you don't want your bedding like that. Your bed needs to be supportive, so your mattress needs to be supportive. What's it?
Your bed. You're saying bedding, but you mean bed.
Your bed needs to be supportive.
Right.
Your fluffy comforters and all the rest can be on you, be fluffy. But what you're laying on needs to be firm, right? So people go, what about Sleep Number? What about Tempur-Pedic? What about whatever else? Well, listen, waterbed. See ya. You're out of there. Like it's not the 70s. It's not the 70s anymore. If you have a waterbed, your car has to have like white walls on it. So there's no such thing as a good waterbed either. So, but listen, it needs to be supportive. If you have a Sleep Number, it needs to be, I would say, probably above 60. So it needs to be pretty firm. I don't necessarily like the Sleep Numbers as much because there's a lot of moving components. They're basically, it's an air mattress with some firm over it. I think the best one is a Tempur-Pedic as far as just out and about. We actually have one on the website that's a non-toxic Tempur-Pedic, about the same price. What's that?
Is that toxic ones?
Tempur-Pedic.
The one on our website is the Tempur-Pedic non-toxic.
The Tempur-Pedic, the version of Tempur-Pedic that's non-toxic is what's on our website. So you can go on there and check it out. I'm not a bed salesman, so again, I couldn't tell you everything about it. However, we have Tempur-Pedic. We have 2 Tempur-Pedics in our house. You just have to air them out real good because the chemical in it can be, you first get, they stink really bad, and that stuff is not good for you. So you have to air it out, open the windows too. Got it? So that's bedding, but want firm. Everybody with me? You got it? There it is. Also, I may kick myself for this one, but don't buy a bed or a pillow without getting a prescription from this office because you don't have to pay taxes for it. If you're needing it because you've got a spinal condition, and if you're subluxated, that is it's good enough, then we'll write you a letter, and then when you go buy it, you don't have to pay taxes on it. Who would like to save a couple $100 on their next bed? Exactly. Listen, those Tempur-Pedic mattresses aren't cheap, or the mattress on our website, it's not cheap. I'm just going to let you know. So don't go up there and go, like this. But guess what? You're going to sleep a third of your life, and you need to have a good bed. You need to invest in it. Okay, so it needs to be in the mix. And there's the bed right there. It's the Evolution, basically. That's the name of Evolution. There it is, $1,700. Temperature, here we go. Husband and wives, here it comes. I'm going to answer the question, right? The only time it was cold in the house is when you were pregnant, and guess what? Now it's going to be cold again. 68 to 72 degrees is optimal. If it's any warmer than that, for most people, unless there's a condition, an actual health condition, like hypothyroidism or something like this, then it needs to be a little bit cooler, okay? Because as your body temperature's up a little bit, then you don't get into deeper REM sleep, okay? So it needs to be a little bit more cool. You can facilitate that in the summertime with keeping it maybe about 74 or so, but having a fan on. You just have to watch that you don't be drying your eyes out and things. Got it? Everybody with me? Good. Excellent. Temperature. Got it?
Got it.
Good. All right, next, number 6. If I could increase your ability to sleep great with high quality sleep 65% by one thing, would you do it? Well, you ought to. And it's high intensity or at least vigorous exercise. It doesn't have to be a half hour, doesn't have to be an hour. It could be max T3 for 12 minutes. 12 minutes, okay? And then you could go to sleep and burn fat while you sleep. Anybody? Come on, right? If I had a supplement today and said, you could actually take this and sleep and lose 11 pounds just by sleeping, I couldn't even hold, you would be punching each other in the face to get to this. But 12 minutes of exercise is like trying to pull teeth. It's not hard. You can do it. And yes, you do have time. When's the best time to exercise? Morning time. When's the second best time? Anytime. That's it. Got it? So 12 minutes. And if you're a patient here, you have a Max T3 DVD you should be using, okay? The amount of sleep. Okay, so we talked about it in the beginning. We would like to try and get 8. I don't get 8. I go to bed at 10. If I'm not in bed by 10, what happens to me, Dr. Kimberly?
Oh, if you're not in bed by 10?
What happens to my mood?
Oh,
Don't.
both of us are.
Yeah, don't, like, if it's like 10:03, I'm like, that's it. The whole day's ruined. I'm out. I'm doing a sleep workshop this week, and you've kept me up. Not that happened this week, by any means. But I go to bed at 10, and I'm up at 4:30 for, now again, that's just me. I could never have done that until I was healthy enough to do that through some of the other things we do, metabolics and other stuff. But I'm up at 4:30 to my gym, my CrossFit gym by 5, and off we go. So I'm getting 6.5, okay? But you can do that if you're really, really healthy. Here's the thing. The reason that you may need more sleep is when you have a health condition, right? If you're getting through a health condition, you need more sleep. What did I tell you to do if you've got a cold? Get some rest, sleep, rest, exactly, right? If you're getting through a major diagnosis, get some sleep. It's also why it's so important here. And so you need to plan ahead for that, right? So if you're getting through these things, you need to make sure you're planning ahead for sleep. Stress, and not because you're trying to, get away from it and not deal with issues, and some people do that, but stress does necessarily make sure that you need more sleep for that. So it does, yeah. Yeah, that's next. So we got one coming up. But sleep time and the amount, okay? Now here's the thing. Great study I read last week or 2 weeks ago. It says if you, because who here on the weekends will change that up? Like you're like, it's Friday night. Get to go out to the movies, stay up a little bit. It's like 12, 12:30, right? We do that. Well, do you know if you actually just lose 30 minutes, or decide, not that you lost, you made a decision to go to bed 30 minutes later or an hour later, that just a loss of 30 minutes can decrease your insulin sensitivity by up to 30%. What that means is that you're going to feel what the next day? Because you cannot get glucose or sugar into the cell, and you've got a hypoglycemia. You're not sensitive to insulin, which is basically you're all over the map with your sleep, right? That's why these people become diabetic. If you're working split shifts, so sometimes it's night, sometimes it's day, sometimes it's night, sometimes it's day, these people lead right into diabetes and higher cancer rates. That's why that's why you have a higher pay rate for night shifts, because you have a less life expectancy and a higher disease rate. It's like it's a risk pay, basically. Okay, that's why that happened. But when you go to sleep is very important. Keeping it very regimented. Again, a lot of you guys sleep way late on the weekends. You are shooting yourself in the foot. Right? This is why if you stay up late and you sleep in late on the weekends, that's why in Monday morning you have Monday morning blues. That's why 6:30 feels like 4:30, because you've reset your circadian rhythm. Anybody here have Monday morning blues ever? Am I the only one? Right? I do it. Listen, Saturday nights we have a date, and you know what? I want to spend more time with my wife. It's my me time. So it's my one time of the week where I say, listen, I am going to stay up a little bit later. Really late, like 10:45 or like 11 or something. So what's really bad is ever see us at like New Year's. We're the biggest party poopers of the whole world. Like if we ever get to like we got to New Year's this last year. It's been like 4 years in a row we've not gotten to. We're like, Happy New Year's, everybody. Good night. It's like 11:05. I can't do it. Right? So, anyway, timing. The time in which you sleep, okay? 1 hour is not equal to 1 hour when you sleep. The hours between 10 and 2 are worth 4 times as many hours after 2. Which is why if you ever stay up late, and you could sleep in until 10 or 11, and you're still exhausted the whole day long. That's because it's like a 4-hour worth of sleep between 10 and 10 and 11 and 11 to 12. It's 4 hours worth of sleep equivalently. Does that make sense? Each hour is worth 4 hours compared to the hours after 2, which means that's why I get so upset. You steal 15 minutes from me, you've stolen an hour of my sleep. Like it's 10:15, I'm throwing stuff. This is done. I'm out. This is terrible. Like I'm hard to be around. That's why you listen. 10 o'clock. It's bedtime. Got it? You do not. It's like, I just need me time. No, you need some sleep.
How do you
The 9:30 is the ideal.
Well, listen, hey, I actually fell asleep. I was so exhausted one day. We saw, it was a high volume day in the office, a lot of things going on. It was a little stressful. We had some cancer patients and other things. And, you know, I have my heart with you guys, so sometimes it's emotionally stressful for me and us. And so I was so tired that I usually try to give her time, and we try to give each other time in the evening time when we put kids to bed. It's also another thing, we put the kids to bed way before we go to bed. Does that make sense? Even though we have older kids now, they're going to bed at the early or the latest by 9, so that who can have time? That's good for marriage. That's good for family. But 9:30 at night, I'm out. But you know what? I woke up the next day. It was 4:30, and I was like, man, I feel good. This is awesome. So I was thinking in my mind 9:30 might be more appropriate. I can't figure that out schedule-wise. But that's why, again, you don't want to mess around with times. You want to go to bed when it's time to go to bed. Yes?
Yes.
Got it? Moving on. Okay.
So you never watch the news?
First of all, there's a reason not to watch the news. There is nothing but spun stuff on there. The world's coming to an end, and everybody needs to get 9 flu shots. But yeah.
Appreciate it.
I couldn't sleep if I watched the news. Like,
That's what I tell my mom.
to die is Christ, to live is gain, or to backward. Yeah. So, question.
My mother-in-law strongly believes that there are 2 types of people. Night people,
Night people,
owls,
yeah.
and morning glories.
Yeah. Morning glories and night owls. Anyone heard that one? Right? I can tell you,
Yeah.
night owls don't live as long.
No, but I don't believe in it because I think it's a habit. It's like
Yeah.
it's
It's a habit. You develop a habit. Listen, here's the thing. Who here had some time in your life where you told yourself, I'm not organized. I'm just not an organized person. One of those people, right? Right? One of these, right? Or whatever else. I'm not a morning person, right? Listen, I have said that. How many years into our marriage did it take me to start getting up? Because this was just recently. I was the night one. I've always been. Actually, when we started dating back in chiropractic school, when I would work out, I wouldn't even go to the gym until about 11 o'clock at night. I was a night owl. I'd run 4, 5, 6 miles at 11 o'clock at night at the gym and go hit weights and whatever else, go home about, 12:30, 1 o'clock, take a shower, get in bed. I was a night owl, and I thought, no problem with it. But I always had acne really bad. I had immune issues. I was sick a lot, those things. And listen, sometimes you feel like you're getting away with that because you're a little bit younger. You're not. You're building with bad material. Got it? So and you're right. So I'm glad you said that. I don't believe in that. That's what you said. But again, it's just bad habits, and we need to fix those. Okay? Toxicity. Low-level exposure to toxicity really, really is a big part of why you guys aren't sleeping well or sleeping with high-quality sleep. And what do I mean? I'm not saying that your house is a toxic dump, but it's something simple as the laundry detergent that you use on your sheets that you're now sleeping in, okay? Or it could be the other way. You haven't washed your comforter since 1998, right? So, but honestly, how often do you wash your comforter, right? Right, but or watch this. You wash your sheets, but you don't wash your pillowcases, right? Right? I listen. I've heard it all. It may not be you. Maybe I'm talking about the single guys in the room, okay?
Or your pillow.
Or how about your pillow? I'm not talking about. There's actually, for most pillows, there's a case on the pillow other than the pillowcase. Do you regularly, every quarter or sometime, take that off and wash it too? Because you'll build up either sweat or like dust mites, these things, and that will decrease your ability to sleep. And actually, it causes a lot of other issues too. Does that make sense? So, but you can also have air fresheners. That's horrible. Candles, number one. Do you know one of the number one? It's probably the top 3, but one of the number one things that cause toxicity in your house that we've actually just found, did some research on it, was candles. Candles, because they've got lead, and not just lead, but a couple other comes right off. And listen, but we love the smell of candles. Great. Well, guess what? Just get an organic candle that's made with an organic wick that doesn't have it with essential oils. Got it? Very simple. What's that? Or don't burn it. Yeah. Or just get a diffuser. Right. So the point is, candles. Get rid. But how about you? The soaps you use or makeups. We just had a great company come in with makeup. We haven't rolled it out yet, so I'm not going to talk too much about it, but I'm really excited about some female makeup products that don't have any bad stuff in them. But soaps, shampoos, hand sanitizers, all these things, some low-level stuff that just basically just causes your hormones to be destroyed. And the reason we're talking about this is we're preparing for Holy Hormones, the workshop's coming up, and I'm all about hormones right now. I'm a fountain of youth, leanness, no pain, sleeping great, hormones, 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 and this will destroy it. So toxicity is a big deal. What's the chapter in the book? I forget what chapter. Anyway, the books that you have as patients, they've got toxicity chapter in that goes through very easy changes. Number one way to get rid of that is to pull it out of your system. But most of the things that we're toxic with have 27-letter words for them now, and they're really complex chemicals, and your body has a hard time getting them from the cell to the liver and then out. What happens is it goes into the bile, basically, and your body reuses bile. You guys know that, right? It reabsorbs bile. Because they're so complex, it actually chemically bonds with bile, and it goes right back into your liver again and into the cell again. And so you actually retoxify continually, and God gave you this great system, but God didn't, it's not like he was unaware, but it's just your body's just not made to be marinated in 100 new chemicals a year, okay? How do you get it out? Very simple. We got this. Took us 8 years to develop this, but it's 2 different products. Raise your hand if you've taken this before. Raise your hand. Oh yeah, like 95% of the room. This has got 2 products. One is the cell, and one is body. And you take this in the morning, and it helps with getting everything across the membrane, the double lipid bilayer. It gets all the stuff out of the cell. And especially, if there was something I could have you take and it decreased your likelihood of cancer by like 80% or something, not that I don't have research on it, but 80%, and it was the same as going to maybe like a weekend spa or something, but you could take it, you would do it. Right? It's the same thing. The reason this is so amazing is not only does it pull it through the cell wall and increase your glutathione, both, it's the only thing on the market will do that, but it's got this, and this has got activated charcoal and some psyllium husk and other things, so that once it's into the digestive system as fecal material, this becomes, if you've ever taken charcoal, why? It's because it binds to everything. If you do a drug overdose, I worked in the busiest emergency room in the United States for years, and kids came in, or young people that actually tried to overdose on drugs or something, right? It was in their stomach. Guess what they gave them? Charcoal, because it would just bind to it and they wouldn't absorb it, and they'd save their life, right? So the reason it's so important to take both of these is because this is going to pull it out, and this will grab it and get rid of it all the way so you don't retox again. Does that make sense? Right? This is spectacular. This is the only thing on the market ever like this. I wanted to show you this. So we're talking about sleeping, right? I have people take sleeping pills. Right now, if you take a sleeping pill, if you only took 18 in the course of 1 year, not prescriptions, 18 single pills, you're 480% more likely to die of any cause, right? Now I want to show you some side effects, okay? This is just all the sleeping pills. Side effects, there's 25 side effects. You could read them if you want to. There's 50, there's 100, there's 150, there's 162, there's 196, there's 203 known side effects to sleeping pills, right? And what's the last one? So what are we doing here, right? Rebound insomnia, right? Just horrible. It's horrible. You will never solve a problem by taking medication. You can sometimes help out, okay, with getting the body to do different things and manipulate it. But unless you figure out the problem and fix that, it's like trying to put gas into a car because it's always empty, but there's a hole in the bottom. Someone ought to what? Plug the hole, okay? Average sleep needed and percent of REM at different ages. It's a little bit more complicated and scientific, but you can see as you go, we need less and less. I actually think that we don't need less and less. I think most people get less because of dysfunction. I think the average person in their 40s, 50s, and 60s and beyond has so much dysfunction that they just can't sleep very well. And that's why we see declining life expectancies continually. But you'll see people I'm the expert in maximal living for longevity, and what you'll see is in countries where people live to 100, like everybody lives to 90s and 100s, and they do very well. Guess what? They sleep what? Very well. In fact, here's another little note. They also take what during the day? Say it.
Nap?
They take vitamin D, but say it. Nap. Did you hear that? They take a nap in the middle of the day, How long is a good nap? I don't know, 15, 20, 25, 30, somewhere in there. If you start getting way above that, then we might get a little bit into some REM that actually causes some sleep trouble in the evening time. But naps during the day, every society, that's very, very good. So if your boss needs to get a note that says you need to take a little nap at work, so we have to have rest time, just like we have at kindergarten, then we can do that. Who said after kindergarten there's no such thing as nap? Right? It's very disappointing when I hit first grade. But it starts with what? It starts with nerve supply. Do not lose this. We went through so many things tonight, and sleep positions and temperatures and times and light and not and whatever else. Don't just think you're going to get the greatest night's sleep of your life if you're not working on your nerve supply. Guests, make sure we get that checked. Got it? Okay? Starts with function. There's that. Make sure you fill that out. Again, make sure you're inviting your guests between now and the 8th. That's coming up. Listen, I'm going to take a couple questions, but I'm going to pray it up first. So if you would just bow your heads. Father, we love you and praise you. Ask that you bless the information that was given, that you help us, like you said, that we would sleep in full rest, knowing that we don't drive the car, that you, Father, drive the car, and we can take a nap and back as you've got control. That you're the Lord of the rough and tumble, just like the gentle breeze. So both of those. And in our lives, we give you just command that you are God and we are not. And as we do that, that we rest very well. That you would give us these things that we learned tonight, that we would apply them, and that we would truly have sweet sleep, that we would have health that was even better because of it, and that we would glorify your name because we were here. So we love you and praise you in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. Any questions on sleep or health? Yes, in the back.
Melatonin.
Good. Melatonin, it actually is a precursor for some of the chemical transmitters that actually help bring the overall brain activity down, right? Which is why some people take tryptophan. It's also why if you eat a bunch of turkey, which is high in tryptophan, it's where everyone's taking a nap at Thanksgiving. But tryptophan can be good. It's getting close where I think the U.S. government might actually even do something to make it to where you have to have a prescription to get melatonin. Now we still have that. We have
melatonin in the office. Some people are using it to help them instead of a prescription medication.
Or getting off of prescription medication.
Serotonin, which is your happy hormone, which is affected by sunshine. If you get good sunshine, you balance your serotonin, which also balances your melatonin.
Yeah.
And then you can sleep.
It's one of the reasons your circadian rhythm gets so much better. It's one of the reasons your circadian rhythm gets so much better with sunlight, because it increases the release of melatonin and serotonin.
You'd rather stop take a something.
We have it in the office just for that reason. So if you have issues,
I would rather you take melatonin
than something else.
prescription medication.
But the only reason that we have some of these products in the office is to help interim, right? Because I could be just like a medical doctor and give you melatonin instead of sleeping. I'm giving you something to treat something, and our whole goal is to treat cause, not symptom. But sometimes there needs to be a better alternative, and that is definitely a good one.
Because I've heard it's good for jet lag.
Yeah. But I mean, I think even better than that is just sunshine. I think the best dose of melatonin you can get is right there. Yeah, for sure. Got it. Good question.
Okay, what about?
Oh, sorry. Then you're next. Yeah, Marcy.
Just asking about, I have heard, and I'd like to know if your research indicated that exposure to the EMFs from your television and computer just before bed can impair your REM.
That's what I read just last week. So what she said is, can EMFs from your phone, computer, or TV decrease, like before you go to bed, decrease your quality of REM? So, but guess what? The answer is yes, it can. Do we have one of those little things that goes on your cell phone? Can you bring me one of those? There's a Q-Link. Can you grab a Q-Link for me? She's like, I don't know what a Q-Link is. Does anybody know what a Q-Link is? I have them in the office. You guys don't really know what it is. I did some research about 3-4 years ago when people really started to get, it really blew up. It was already blown up, but a lot of people start getting, everybody's got a smartphone now, right? You don't just have the flip phones, right? Those smartphones put off more EMFs than just about anything, right? And the problem with the smartphones is they're right where? By your head. They did a study where they actually measured the temperature of brain tissue on the side that you keep, because everybody uses those. You don't use it. You don't switch. You go to the same side every time. The brain tissue temperature is higher on one side because you are constantly cooking it. Does that make sense? This is a bad deal. Okay, EMFs are energy, and they actually increase temperature, and nothing puts off more of it than a smartphone. Okay, also a laptop. Okay, that's what this thing is. It's a little. Looks like a little button. It's really, really thin, and it basically sticks to your phone, and it does. And listen, I'm this. You don't ever try to sell me anything, because I will shut you down. Let me tell you. I was so skeptical about this. I'm like, sure, it blocks EMFs, right? I did the research. It really does block EMFs, and so you'll see it on our stuff all the time, because I don't want to have EMFs blowing through us. Yeah, it's got a Q link. Yeah, so I'll just pass that around. You guys see it. You can actually. It's a whole big box, just for that one little thing sticking out the front right there. All right, so you can see that. Just pass it around. So that's a good question. So that's why you want to get that stuff out of your bedroom, turned off, and out of your. And the other thing is, you don't want to just have them out of your bedroom. You want to have them off, because guess what? If something buzzes or dings in the next room, subconscious is so it literally will bring you not awake, but it will bring you up out of REM possibly, just because you Pavlovian dog hear that zzz, and there's a text or there's something, right? Make sense? So off.
And men holding their laptops on their lap.
It is terrible. That's right. Right into your stuff. Yeah. You don't want it. Good. Questions? Other questions about sleep? Timing?
What about that thing you got on?
This, now there's a lot of different ones. So this is a Fitbit, no, VivoFit. But Fitbit is another one. There's a lot of different little things. But you want to have one that deals with sleep well. I like this one because I didn't want to wear something and wear a watch. And so I wear this, and you just push the button, and it tells you the date and the time, and it tells you how many steps I've gotten today. So I've got another 900 steps to get before I go to sleep.
I'm concerned about maybe the stuff it puts out.
Oh, no, it's a good question. It doesn't put off anything.
Sleep, right?
It doesn't put off anything.
Check your sleep.
Yeah, but she was like, what about this thing you're wearing? Does it put off? No, it doesn't put off any EMFs whatsoever. That's important. This is called a VivoFit. This is Garmin VivoFit, VivoFit, and I did a lot of research. They've got a new one that's a little different than this, probably a little bit nicer, but this is probably cheaper now because a new brand's out, or a new fangled one, a shiny or new whatever. Just pay for this one. It's cheap, it's easy. But it tells you gives you a goal, gives you how many miles you've walked that day. But also you hit a button and you hold it. Let me get it back to that. Hit the button and hold it, and it says sleep right on there. Do you guys see that? Or it says sleep. Now go to bed, and it registers movements, right? And in REM, you don't move. You're down. Like REM is you're like this. So it'll actually measure how long you're in REM. And then basically what happens is in the morning I hit that button, and it goes back, and then I can link this up. I don't have to do it every day. I could just do it once a month and just go back and look my whole month. And I can look at the times that I had deeper REMs, and I can track and whatever else. And what's cool about it is I can track it. And so I look at my training schedule and my sun exposures and things like this. And I can literally go to my calendar and go, oh, yeah, there it is. Or different, like I went out, maybe I had a drink, an alcoholic drink when we were out on a date or something like this, glass of wine or something, and every single time it just messes my REM up. And so
You can link it to journaling, like your food and
Yeah.
how you're eating, and that kind of stuff.
easy stuff. It's not a necessity, but it's kind of cool. Yeah.
Okay, for people who drink a lot of water and then are required to get up during the night, what should be the cutoff time for drinking and eating?
It depends on the person's condition. Different thyroid conditions and things cause dehydration, so it just depends on the overall health level. Some people dehydrate very easily, and they're drinking a lot of water still because their anti-diuretic hormones are really not that healthy yet. But if you're the average person, basically I would say I wouldn't drink a whole lot of water past somewhere between 8:30, 9-ish, like this. I finished, like the last thing I do before I go to sleep is I'll drink a 6 to 8 ounce glass of water that's got magnesium in it. Every night, that's what I do, and I'm done. And I usually don't have to get up from that. So if you have to get up, what you don't want to do is turn a light on, right? If you turn a light on, it brings your brain way up. So what you'd rather do is but here's the thing, you don't want to trip either, right? There's this dark room, you don't want to turn a light on, I killed myself. Right, yeah, exactly. It'll wake you up, that's for sure. But you want to have really, really low light, or, nothing at all if you can keep on it. Yeah, flashlight. We actually had one lady, she was doing really, really well. She actually had a little tiny pin light, and it had a red filter on it. And red does not actually cause a lot of activity. It's the slowest wavelength, and so it doesn't wake you up. And so having a red light actually works really good too. So yeah,
So that was a question about the color of the light.
color.
It's red, right? So if you get your clock, if it's red instead of like blue.
Exactly. Red alarm clocks are better than the blue. Yeah.
And I think there's a red, some kind of a red screen or film you can put on your computer. It literally follows the sun. And
Really?
As the sun starts to set.
You see that too?
This is good for pediatric, for
Wow.
kids especially.
Cool.
Because their brains are more
Cool.
sensitive.
There's also alarm clocks that actually wake you up by actually turning light on slowly into the room. Dr. McCullough has one of those. They're fairly cheap too. It's like less than $40. And then it ends its cycle. It takes like, you can say it's like 30 minutes of slowly putting more and more light into the room until it's like woo, and it's like really bright. And then if you're still not awake, it'll actually start turning on a little bit of music, and it'll bring that up a little bit too, right? There's something you can do. Yeah.
Jawbone is another one,
Jawbone, I have one of those.
and it
That's a good one.
wakes you up at the right cycle if you want to set it.
That's it. And this one does too, right? So Jawbone actually has a vibration thing on it, and you can set it to, it's like a wake-up alarm, so you can set an alarm for it to wake you up, and it will basically wake you up with a vibration. Actually, I don't think this one does have that. But it'll basically, you'll set it, but if you want to wake up at, let's say, at 7:30, but it's at 7:30 you're still in REM, it'll wait until 7:35 or whatever else until your REM cycle's down, and then it'll buzz. So it doesn't wake you up in your REM cycle, so you finish the REM cycle. So my thing is, that thing could buzz on my face and I wouldn't wake up. So, good. Other questions? All right.